Excuse me? What is this?
Well, just in case you don't know, that's a product backlog item.
Yeah, I get this is a product backlog item, but it's only a one-liner statement.
It's a revolutionary idea that I got, and I want you to put it in the product backlog.
It's not even detailed enough. How am I supposed to develop something based on a one-line statement? Can you come back later with a more detailed explanation on it, please?
Well, that's not my job. I'm the product owner, mate. You're the developer.
Well, yeah, product owner. Another name for glorified business analyst. It's your job to manage and put details on the product backlog.
Hang on a second. Where did you get such unreliable information like that?
The internet, YouTube, save. Everyone on this universe know that product owner is just another name for requirements engineer. You're more like a backlog owner, I would say.
Of course not. You should go to a reliable Scrum training. The product owner is just like the company owner. As a product owner, I can delegate tactical work such as detailing the product backlog to you developers.
Hooray!
Okay, fine. You are the owner of the product. But who's going to refine this one-liner product backlog item?
Definitely not me. Like you just said, I'm the owner of the product. As long as I'm accountable for the value of the product, I can delegate this kind of work to you.
Well, it's definitely not going to be me either. It's not my job. It's not in my pay grade. I was hired only to write codes, not to write requirements.
Let's talk about the product backlog refinement. And by the way, it's refinement, not grooming. Because in certain cultures, grooming means something inappropriate. Okay, now that we've got that out of the way, let's get back to the topic. The product backlog refinement is an activity in Scrum. It's not an event. And we will see later on this video why it's an activity rather than an event. The product backlog refinement is often misunderstood, and because of these misunderstandings, it has caused many unnecessary conflicts, just like as we have seen in the previous scene. In today's video, I will discuss not only what is the product backlog refinement, but also who's involved in the refinement activity, when, how long, and how often this activity happens in the sprint, and lastly, the biggest question of all: how refined or how detailed each product backlog item should be before the Scrum team can take it into the sprint. If the product backlog refinement has caused a lot of unnecessary conflict at your workplace and you want to learn how to improve the product backlog refinement activity at your workplace, stick around folks, do not go anywhere because I'll be back right after this one. What's up, awesome people? I hope you are doing well, and I hope you are having a great week so far. Welcome back to my channel, and for those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Joshua Partugi. I'm a professional Scrum trainer through Scrum.org based in Brisbane, Australia. Welcome on board to the community of passionate changemakers. Before we learn about product backlog refinement, let's have a shared understanding about the nature of the product backlog item itself. As written on Scrum Guide, the product backlog is an emergent ordered list of what is needed to improve the product. Now, because it's emergent, it is possible that a product backlog item is only a one-line statement and it's vague. Unlike in other product development models where you need to ensure that all of the requirements are detailed and locked in before the development can start, in Scrum, it is okay to initially have a vague one-liner product backlog item. The Scrum team will continuously refine the product backlog item every sprint until everyone in the Scrum team has a shared understanding about it. The product backlog item should be viewed by everyone in the company as a starting point for future conversation, not as a locked into the stone requirement. And that's why what matters most is not how detailed the written text on the product backlog item, but how deep is the shared understanding amongst the Scrum team about the product backlog item. In complex product development, tacit knowledge is hard to be described in forms of written text, and sometimes it is also hard to be described in forms of visuals. And that's why the second value of Agile Manifesto is working software over comprehensive documentation. To illustrate my point about how tacit knowledge is hard to be described in forms of text or visuals, I will use an analogy from making a musical instrument, in this case, from making a guitar. If you ask a guitar luthier about how to make a beautiful looking and a beautiful sounding guitar, they will most likely prefer to demonstrate it to you rather than writing you a long form step-by-step documentation on how to make a beautiful sounding and a beautiful looking guitar. Because making a beautiful looking and a beautiful sounding musical instrument, it's complex. Now from here we can learn that the key to acquiring tacit knowledge is experience. Without some form of shared experience, it is extremely difficult for people to share each other's thinking processes. Now that we know that tacit knowledge in complex product development is hard to be described in forms of text, the Scrum team should focus more on increasing the level of shared understanding amongst them. In complex product development, verbal communication is much more valuable than text-based communication. There are many ways the Scrum team can improve the depth of their shared understanding. It can be done through refactoring kata, or pairing, or mob programming. It can also be done by interviewing the customers and observing the customers in using the product. Or it can also be done by going down to the Gemba or to the source of the problems. Or it can also be done by wireframing on whiteboard together. It can also be done through mentoring, just like how an experienced luthier mentors a less experienced luthier. Hey, thank you everyone for watching this far. As I'm editing this video, Jesse Howing just left a dozen of bad user stories on my channel. I thought I'd let you folks know about this so that you can also learn from his experience. Just go to my channel and then click the community tab. He left dozens of comments on the post that you see on the screen right now. The sample on this video was actually inspired by some of the bad user stories he left there. Alright, let's continue with the video. There are two extreme scenarios that I would like to illustrate how the Scrum team handles a vague product backlog item. For both scenarios, keep your eye on the indicators on the top left of the screen so that you can understand how an initially vague product backlog item evolved into a product backlog item that is well understood by the Scrum team from sprint to sprint. And also, these are the characters that will be involved in the illustration. Keep your eye on the roles and accountabilities in the Scrum team throughout the illustration. Let's start with the first scenario. In the first scenario, the Scrum team decides that they will put this vague product backlog item in the bottom order of the product backlog and will not select it during sprint planning until they have shared understanding about how to turn it into a usable increment. Clarity and granularity is just one of the factors the Scrum team uses when ordering the product backlog. You can click the link up here if you want to learn other factors that the Scrum team should consider when ordering the product backlog. Only if you haven't watched that video. The Scrum team members at their own time may add more details onto the product backlog item. Sometimes it may be one person adding several acceptance criteria onto it. The Scrum team may use Gherkin syntax to write acceptance criteria and feed it into Cucumber as their automated acceptance testing tool. At one point in time, some team members may collaboratively add the information about the architecture of the product onto the product backlog item. This architecture information may include the database schema, the microservice, or even the cloud infrastructure topology. At one point in time, the product owner may come back with the feedback from the customer and add that information into the product backlog item. Sometimes, the developers may hold a collaborative user experience session to design the wireframe of the user interface and also the usability flow. And before I continue, if you still think that the developers in the Scrum team do not include the UX and the designers, you can click the link up here to watch the video that I have already made that explain why UX and designers are also part of the Scrum developers. The information the Scrum team discovered out of this user experience design session is added onto the product backlog item. Once there is enough understanding, the Scrum team may size the product backlog item. If they found the product backlog item is too large to fit in one sprint, they may collaboratively run another session to split the product backlog item to be small enough to be completed in one sprint. The team may slice this product backlog item using the acceptance criteria or the usability flow they wrote on it. Now, when the Scrum team has several small-sized, well-understood product backlog items, these items may go on the higher order in the product backlog. how, when, where the product backlog refinement happens is very dynamic because the Scrum team, as we all know, is a self-managing team. Who does the refinement is also dynamic. The product owner can add new information onto the product backlog item, but it does not mean that all of the information is only added by the product owner themselves in isolation, because the product owner is not the Scrum team's personal secretary. Sometimes one of the developers in the Scrum team can self-manage to refine it. Sometimes the whole Scrum team runs a collaborative session to refine it. Sometimes the Scrum team is getting deep down into the rabbit hole during product backlog refinement session, and when that happens, several Scrum team members who have the concern about it may run a separate discussion. The point I'm trying to make here is the Scrum team self-manages to improve their shared understanding. Not only self-management, bottom-up intelligence also comes into play during every product backlog refinement activities. Now let's talk about the second scenario. In the second scenario, the Scrum team agrees to bring a vague one-liner product backlog item into the sprint, even though they don't have much understanding about it. When the Scrum team agrees to bring a vague one-liner product backlog item into the sprint, the Scrum team will usually develop a small proportion of the functionality for several days in the sprint, and then they will show it to the customers for feedback. They will then continue developing and also designing the functionality based on the feedback given by the customer. A few more days later, the Scrum team will show the improved working functionality to the customer for another feedback. They will continue doing this until they have a usable increment at the end of the sprint. The Scrum team may even do practices like mob programming and user experience design sessions that I have mentioned in the first scenario multiple times within the sprint. Scrum teams who choose to have multiple feedback loop within the sprint quite often are developing a revolutionary innovative product. And because of that reason, they believe rather than waiting until the vague product backlog item is fully refined before they can start working on it, which may make the Scrum team miss out the momentum in the market, they agree to bring it into the sprint and continuously develop small functionality and continuously get feedback from the customers until the end of the sprint. This kind of working model is actually not really new. The team that Kent Beck worked with when he created Extreme Programming did this kind of working model. For many Scrum teams I have worked with though, they do not like this kind of working model as they resist rework. But the underlying issue is because the organization they worked with still has that project management mindset that locks in time, scope and budget all together and make it as non-negotiable. And also, this kind of company usually have a thick blaming and judging culture. For both of the scenarios that I have just illustrated, it is still possible that the developers aren't able to deliver as expected or as planned, and when that occurs, the management, the product owner, and even the client must not judge or blame the developers. Judging and blaming is going to create an adversarial relationship. We don't want that in Scrum. We want collaboration. When the developers are blamed or judged, they will become defensive and they may even blame the person who came up with the vague product backlog item.
If this is how it's going to be played, I'm just going to get my superpower as a developer. The Tai Chi of rejecting unclear product backlog items.
Whenever the delivered increment is not as expected or as planned, encourage learning and also promote psychologically safe work environment. The management, the product owner, and even the client must focus on improving the value of the product rather than focusing on locking in time, scope, and budget or having that project management mindset when using Scrum. When developing a complex, innovative product, what we will develop is unclear. What we're capable of developing is unknown, and how the customer may use the product is also unknown. If we can predict the future, and we know we will always be on plan and on target, we would not be using Scrum. Hey, thank you for watching today's video, folks. If you liked today's video, please share it with your friends and colleagues. And don't forget to click that like button down below, as that will help this video spread faster on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, as I have a goal to reach 10,000 subscribers this year. We are close to getting there, and I promise you I will dye my hair blue and I will appear with my blue hair in the next video after I get 10,000 subscribers. So if you want to see me in blue hair quicker, click that subscribe button down below. And also don't forget to watch other videos on this channel by clicking the thumbnails here and also down there. Thank you, folks. Enjoy the rest of your day. Don't forget to stay safe and also don't forget to stay awesome.